Domenico in the Room podcast here with the Joker, Jay Perrin, returning to the Cage Titans cage Saturday, July 10th at Plymouth Memorial Hall. Jay, it's been a while, man, since we got to talk about fight news, brother. Let's talk about it, man. How you feeling about the opportunity? And then we'll get to everything else from there.
Oh, dude, I feel so good. I feel so good just like internally being able to step back in there, dude. I can't even describe it. The best way that I haven't felt this way and this prepared and this centered since Kin, you know what I mean? Since the Kin fight. It's been such a wild ride over the last year and a half. And, you know, like I said, I've said in other interviews, you know what I mean? There's times where I thought I was going to quit because I just couldn't find anything. And, you know, like I know that the crowd is going to be absolutely fucking ridiculous, and I can't wait for it. I've been dreaming of it for, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks now. So I couldn't tell. I'm elated to be able to get back into that cage.
Well, a lot of fighters have gotten work since the shutdown. You were one of those guys that were grinding, looking for something, staying ready. What was the problem there? Was your name being shopped around a lot, or was it just fighters weren't ready to take you on?
I have a couple of opinions. I think that there was the fact that there were people just kind of taking short notice fights for the sake of it, because then they couldn't really have the excuse that they weren't prepared. They, you know, like taking short notice fights gives you the built-in excuse that I took a short notice fight. So, you know what I mean? And I refuse to do that, especially where I'm at. You know what I mean? I've won 8 of my last 9 fights. For me to jump into a fight that doesn't make sense for no reason, that was part of it. You know what I mean? If you want me to cut on 4 days notice, I don't know if you know me, Steve, but like I walk around at like $165. So you're asking me to cut 30 pounds in like 4 days. And then I'm not the type to do that if I'm not ready, especially if we're in a pandemic and the gym is limited and shit like that. So that's one reason. But then as the time went on, you know, like you said, dude, I was grinding the whole time. The proof's in the pudding. I was there the whole time, working in my garage at SIT, you know what I mean? Wherever I needed to go to get work, I went to. And then I started calling out names. You know, I just started asking for names, not calling people out like I normally do. I just said, all right, are you ready? And I got a no there. I got crickets from there. So my actual opinion is that nobody wants a tough fight. Nobody wants a super, super tough fight. And I absolutely present that in every level. The formula, it seems to be these days, is to fight people that are below you and get to the show as fast as you can. I don't know how well that formula works out for people, because it seems like they fight cans or people that aren't as good as them or whatever, and then they get to the show and they get finished, or they don't win, or they get dominated in one facet or another. And I'm not particularly calling out names. It's just a pattern that I've noticed. So for me, I feel like it's kind of, like I said before, it's a backhanded compliment. People recognize that I am a UFC caliber fighter, and you know, it's respectful of them, but also they avoid me at all costs because, you know, they don't want to get into a fight that might leave them battered and bruised, or they might not win. And I really feel like people recognize that I am a threat in every way in this division. There's no one person that's just going to walk through me. There's no one coach that looks at their fighter and says, Jay Perrin's an easy fight. So that's my opinion. I think that that's really what happened. I couldn't find a fight because, one, you know, I don't take short notice fights like that for no reason. Off the advice of my coaches and my manager, I wouldn't do that. And I think that I'm an actual threat to just about anybody that walks at 135. I don't care what kind of fighter you are. When it comes to game day, it's very hard to beat me on game day. So I feel like that's a big part of it, is that people don't want to have a hard fight and then move on or potentially lose. It's like, it's one thing to have a hard fight and know that you can win. It's another thing to have a hard fight and not be sure that you can win. So I think that's a big part of it as well.
Well, you know, the confidence is sky high as it always is with you, Jay. But now, you know, during this, you moved, you relocated, you stepped up your game even more. Let's talk a little bit about this move and how it came about. You are at Syndicate right now and Las Vegas, the heart of fighting, man, where you've dreamed of being, close to the action, and that phone call, you're right next door, brother. So let's talk about the move and how it came about.
So the move was something that I really didn't intend on doing for like a permanent basis. I wanted to come out here for a few months and then come back, and then it just turned into, hey, I'm going to stay out here as long as I possibly can, and then if I need to come home, I need to come home, and I'll make a way back. But the move happened because of the quarantine and everything that was going on in Somerville and Boston, and during that time, I was training. I trained every day. But I wasn't training for a fight. You know what I mean? I was just training to train. It became kind of mundane, and I taught all the time. I was teaching too much. And like I said, I've said that before. My goal at the end of my career is to not just be a fighter and have no plan. It's to be a fighter, gain my name enough to have some recognition in the sport, and then open my own gym and have my own facility. And you know what I mean? And run my own fight team. That's the end goal for me, because my life is martial arts, and that's what I'd like to do. But at this juncture in life, I'm still a fighter, and I'm still not ready to be the full head coach thing. I'm a very good coach, in my own opinion, but I am not there yet, if that makes sense. And back at Sityodtong, you know what I mean, people were kind of doing their own thing, like everybody was in New England. You know what I mean? There were people that were going to Lausanne some days, and they come to Sit some days, and people were just kind of moving around. There wasn't really a lot of continuity going on in, especially like the Massachusetts area. So I had to find a place that had 35ers, good 35ers, people my size. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sparring Peter Barrett, who love him to death, and is a great training partner, is a foot taller than me, and you know what I mean, and is
20 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not conducive to me fighting the body type that I'm going to run into more often than not. And it turned into, I don't want to be a coach, I want to be a fighter, and if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to I have a good relationship with Coach John Wood, and I have a good relationship with everybody at Syndicate, and they've always pushed me, and they have great guys, and that was really the decision. It was that, and in my personal life, there just wasn't anything good going on. I had my breakup with my ex-girlfriend of 4 years, and that kind of turned into, a nightmare. And that was really the only thing that kept me there, was that girl. And, I just nothing positive was happening around me, and it was really affecting my mental health. So my own personal health, I just decided I needed to leave home and see the world a little bit, and go and do what I love to do every day. And, I went from training 3 times a week, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and driving an hour and a half, to I walk 2 miles to the gym and I walk 2 miles home every day, Steve, every day. I am there 6 days a week. I was there today. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just become so great for me, to be around all of that. And I teach every day, and I still got all the training that I need. I'm going to teach 4 classes. I teach 5 classes today, so like, my whole life is martial arts, and it's been so good for me, just developmentally and personally, to be around the thing that I love the most all the time. And Syndicate has embraced me so well, that, I'm not an outcast. I'm very much part of the team. I'm not the new guy. I'm very, very much a Syndicate fighter. And, from JoJo to, we had Michael Chiesa there today.
Oh, cool.
We have, what's his name? I can never say his name. Marab Dashvili, something like that. I don't know his name. I don't know how to say his name. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You'll know it by the end of training camp.
Exactly, but he's been there, and we've had a lot of UFC people come through. Forrest Griffin's been running practices here and there, and I just get to pick the mind. Like, I'm friends with Frank Mir. I don't know. 14-year-old me thinks that's fucking super cool.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Jay, here's the thing. Like, I mean, you talked about how you fit in there and stuff. You're a very likable dude, a very intelligent dude, and man, you have that coach mentality and fight mentality. So you could and you should get along with all these people, because you're a very cool guy to talk to, man. So what's this Frank Mir stuff going on right now?
Oh, Frank's just a cool guy, man. It's just kind of weird that like I don't know. I grew up watching the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up watching Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir, and I watch, you know what I mean, people like that, and Mike Pyle, who was a fucking animal
Yeah.
back when he was fighting, and you know, people like, it's just being a 15-year-old watching those. I never expected that I would ever talk to these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, now I go to practice and I go to lunch with them all the time. Or you know what I mean? Like it's the casualness and is in which I talk to these people now is it's just very surreal to me, and makes me very grateful for where I am in my life and how far I've come in this sport. And that's really big going into this fight, knowing that I've come so far, has been really, really, really awesome for me. Like, I don't know. I finally can give myself kind of a pat in the back, because I think it was a few days ago I just kind of sat there and realized that everything that I've ever said that I'm going to do, I have done. I have done, whether it took me a year or two or however long. Anything that you can go back on every interview that I said I was going to do something, I fucking did it. And I'm a man of my word, and that makes me very confident. And so I, knowing all of that, going into this fight, I'm so mentally clear about it that I know I'm going to go in there and impose my will and do what I need to do, and come out the victor. You know what I mean? I sense a finish in every way, shape, and form here. I can't really describe where I'm at. It's very serene, if I may. I'm calm. I'm collected. I'm there every day. You know what I mean? There's nothing about this that I'm not prepared for. So, you know, I don't know what else to say. This move has been very good for my career and my life in general. So I'm very happy where I am.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about that fight that you're looking to get that finish at. You know, Jay, you talked about earlier in the interview about, you know, fighters while the pandemic was going on that, you know, you couldn't get a fight here and there. But the same thing seemed to happen when Cage Titans was looking for a matchup for you. There was names thrown at you. You were saying yes, and then fighters were saying no. How did this name, Andy Aiello from Lausanne's, man, he's a legit 135.
Absolutely.
He's got a 2-fight winning streak. He's a striker. He's got boxing, pro boxing, you know, behind him, man. How did this, like, this came out of left field for me? I was throwing names out there, you know, thinking of someone out of the New England area. And, you know, we forgot about Andy because it's been a couple of years since he's been in that cage.
Yeah,
and, you know, it's going to be a year and a half since you've been in there. So it makes sense, and it's a great fight. So I guess that's how it came about. But tell us how that name came about, and, you know, how it was signed.
So just like you said, man, just like you said, we had names. Andy was a backup. Andy was the first person. And by the way, the backup was the first person to say yes. Throwing that out there. He said yes from the first second, because he's a man and he's like, this is what we do. And he shows up to fights. And this is why you haven't seen me talk shit about Andy at all. Well, one, because Andy's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He's not like a bad guy at all. And two, he's a gamer, and he's going to show up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to name names because they know who they are, and I'm sure that they'll watch this. But anytime that I've called you guys out, and I've called a couple of you out a couple of times, more than once I've asked for you, I've gotten crickets back, or I've gotten no's, or one of you decides to call out my name and then say no after I accept you openly calling me out. Things like that. It's cowardly. I just don't understand it. No one will ever say, other than this fight, and even then, every one of my opponents, I think except for one, has had a winning record. And I've always fought to my level or higher. That's in my own opinion. If you look at my last 5 opponents, including Andy, I think their combined records are 53 and like 20, and I think 16 or like 12 or like anywhere in there is Johnny alone, is Johnny by himself. So like, you know what I mean? Like I've always fought people with winning records. I've always taken the tough fight where I can, because I've always wanted to test myself as a martial artist. You know what I mean? I want to know that I beat these guys that were top tier. You know what I mean? And if you look at them when I fought them, they were top tier when I fought them. Andy's the first person this sounds bad, be on the lower spectrum of, in comparison to my other opponents, as far as records go, as far as, you know what I mean, streaks and wins and losses and how he's lost and things like that. People just, like I said, they don't want a tough fight, and it's shitty because it's like, what the fuck are you here for? You like, I don't get the thought that I'm going to take all these easy fights and then the UFC is just going to absolutely be the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, eventually you're going to have to fight somebody tough, and I'm going to take Randy Costa for an example. Randy is an amazing fighter and an amazing guy, and before anybody comes out and says that I'm talking shit about Randy, I'm not. I'm just going to use something that happened with him as an example. He beat up guys that he was supposed to beat in fantastic fashion back when he was in the local scene. Absolutely supposed to beat them, and he did. He did his job. Then he got to the show, and his first fight, he fought a guy with a so-so record, and that guy was tough, and he ended up losing that fight. And that is a pattern that happens quite a bit. Now he fights fucking studs, and he's he's an absolute contender at 135. Let's not mince words. Randy's an animal, but like, it seems like that is the thing that's going on, and people want to just get to the show, pad their record as much as they can, and get there. But like, when they get there, you're gonna have to fight me. If we're all there, you're not gonna avoid me forever. So like, you can take the fight now and say you beat me already and you're not going to do it, or you can take it later when I'm better, because I'm not getting worse, Steve. I'm not getting worse. I'm getting better. So like, the earlier you fight me, the more chance you got to beat me. But right now, I haven't even entered the prime of my life yet, and I'm still better than all of you motherfuckers. So I don't really get it. I don't get it. I want to take a tough fight because as a man, if I don't make it to the UFC, sure, whatever. At least I can retire and say I fought all of these fucking killers, and I beat them because I'm a killer as well. I don't want to look back on my career and say I fought a guy that was 6-6. I fought a guy that was this and that. Andy stepped up to the plate where these other people did not. They refused to. And that's why I have more respect for Andy than these people, because he'll show up because he's a man of his word, and he's going to sit there and he's going to fight me. And he's 5-3. Some of you are, you know what I mean? I don't think I need to even go into more detail. You guys are
Jay,
not confident.
Let's get.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Let's get you back. Coming back to Cage Titans, man. You're making your way back here in a little over 2 weeks, bro. What's the feeling inside? You're gonna hit that. The crowd's gonna be roaring there. First event since the shutdown. You were supposed to fight in April. You were teeter-tottering whether you should stay in training camp if the world's gonna shut down. The world is open. How excited are you to take that walk back to Cage Titans?
I've been meditating and visualizing the moment I walk out for a month now. And it's the energy I even get from just the thought of it is just amazing. And I know that all the other fighters on this card are going to feel the same way. To fight outside of a crowd wouldn't be bad. I've done it before. You know what I mean? I performed well, but you love the crowd. You love to feel how they feel. You know what I mean? You love to hear the oohs and the ahs and the cheers of your name, or even the boos. You know what I mean? I love the boos. Boo me. Fine. You know what I mean? Boo me if you want to. I'm sure that there's a guy named Rocco that wants to boo me somewhere in there. I don't know. I'm giving that guy too much attention, but I don't know. But I can't wait, dude. I really, really, really cannot. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have never been this mentally clear or just this prepared to have so much fun in there with a guy that I respect since kin, and we all know how I did in that kind of fight where there's less pressure on me. There's not pressure on me to sell the fight. I don't have to sell the fight. Fight's going to be there. You know what I mean? Events basically sold out, man. We barely have any room left in there. And we got 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that shit sold out. You know what I mean? I don't got to sell the fight anymore. So like, that takes a lot of pressure off of us fighters, that we don't need to sit there and yell and bark and scream. And, to be honest, as much as talkative as I am, if I respect another human being, the only form of, I guess, I don't know, adversity, I don't know what word to use there, would be that I'm going to show you the respect that I'm going to be prepared. You know what I mean? I'm going to be, if I respect you as much as I say I do, I'm going to show you up as the best version of myself I can, because that's what I expect you to show up as. So the crowd's going to be amazing, man. I can promise you it's going to be, if I'm going to step out and I'm going to take it all in. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to look at every face in the crowd that I can. And I'm going to take their energy like it's a fucking Dragon Ball Z episode. And I'm going to go into that cage and I'm going to do what I love to do. And it's the thing that I've missed so much from my life for the last year and a half. And it's not without trying, you know what I mean? It's not that I haven't tried. I've been so willing to get in there, just with an appropriate amount of time to train. And now that I have that, I have an opponent that's going to show up, that's going to get in my face and give me a challenge that I have to overcome. And for me personally, that is the greatest thing you could give me, you know, is that I have a challenge that I need to overcome in front of all of the people I love. And I get to show up all of the work that I've been doing for the past 2.5, 3 months now. So I couldn't be more ecstatic to get in front of my home crowd.
Yeah.
Because what if this is the last time? What if I go in there, I starch Andy in 45 seconds, and then the next week I get a call? You know what I mean? And that shit happens. This could be the last time every fight from here forth at Cage Titans could be my last Cage Titans fight. And the only thing that I'm upset about is that I can't do it for my belt, you know? And that's not without trying. Andy requested that it be 3 rounds. I offered him the fight for the belt. He didn't want to take that. He said, I can't do a 5-round fight. I can do a 3-round fight, which indicates enough to me. But, you know, a fight's a fight at this point. You know, with all the people that are ducking and dodging me, 3-round fight, 5-round fight, I don't give a fuck. Send it. I want to get into that cage one way or another, and I'm going to. And I'm glad that I have a man that's going to stand there and give it to me, you know what I mean, and push me. So all the respect in the world for Andy, and I cannot wait to show the fans what I've been doing and go back to my winning ways. I'm looking for my 10th career, my 10th professional win, you know, so the double digits are coming, and I don't plan on slowing down for fucking anybody.
Well, you know, you talked about, you know, Andy and, you know, not being the caliber or the name fighter that could launch you off. But like you said, you get that finish that you're looking for. It doesn't matter who it is. It's a finish, and it's more eyes on you, and
Yep.
it's another step toward the goal of the UFC, of course. So last thing, Jay, you're split between teams here. Who's going to be making the trip to this fight for you, and who's going to be cornering you?
So I've got John Wood. John Wood will be in my corner. He's going to fly out. I have my manager, Lance. He's actually going to be in the corner as well. And you know what? We are very much in contact with Crew Mark, and you know my Crew and Coach Wood. They both talk to each other about what I'm doing, and you know what I mean. I'm very still much. Sit is still always going to be my home and always going to be my family. And Crew Mark and Marie and the Delagratis and everybody there is still closer to me than some of my own blood. And so I don't want it to ever be misconstrued that I'm disrespectful of them, or I don't think that I'm better than them, or, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean that. Just at my point in my career, I sat down with Crew and he told me to leave. He told me it was time for me to go. And that's why I did it. I would have never left without Crew's blessing. And I did. And it'll be Syndicate in my corner, but that doesn't mean that I don't wear the badge of Siatong on my chest forever. I love them, and they will always be my family. So if it comes to worse and something happens, then we'll have Sit in my corner. And you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I'm all set with coaches and corners. I'm not worried about that. And I have 2 teams that understand me and how I fight and what I need to do to be successful. So I'm not worried about that. And I have complete faith in the people that I've surrounded myself with to do what needs to be done, and I will listen to them wholeheartedly. So I can't wait. I really can't wait. I can't wait to show everybody. I can't wait to show the world that I'm still here. I haven't left. I'm still the king. 8 of my last 9 I've won. So at a certain point, you know, Andy's the name or the not the name or whoever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to finish. And, you know, whether Andy is a big name or he isn't, it's not like any of you can sit back and say, well, Jace never fought anybody tough, because that's just not fucking true. And you know it. So I don't have to prove that anymore. I don't have to prove that. I fought guys that could be in the UFC, and I've beaten them. And I fought guys on the Contender Series and should have beaten them and didn't, you know what I mean, and got screwed. You know, I've shown that I am elite caliber more than one time. So at this point, finishes are finishes. I'm not following that same that same path. The only reason that this fight fell in my lap is because no one else wanted to answer the call, because they wanted the easiest route to the show they can get, and all the power to them. But when they get to that show, if we're both there, you can't say no to me forever. And I'm not fucking afraid of you, any of you, and you all know it. So, one way or another, our paths will cross. But until then, I got a job in front of me with Andy, and I'm going to finish that job emphatically and prove that I'm still the king, and move on.
Excellent, my man. Well, last thing, my friend, social media. I know you got a new Instagram. Well, it's fairly new.
It's
and
new.
It's new. And anything.
I don't know how to get in the old one.
And anything.
Get into it.
Yeah, I got like 6 accounts, and I forget them all. So last thing, my friend, shout outs and sponsors. Anyone you want to say thanks to before I let you go?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, everybody at Syndicate, John Wood, my manager, Lance Spouty, man, the guy has been, he houses me. I live in his house, and, he gets me to everywhere I need to be. And, the guy's been amazing. So big shout out to him. You're going to see me really, really gush over that guy, because he's really taken over my career. Everybody at Syndicate, Coach Wood, to JoJo Calderwood, to the Shapiro brothers, have all been pushing me so hard. And, Vince Morales and a bunch of other people. Everybody back home at SIT, and back home in Nashua, New Hampshire, and Lowell, Massachusetts. I've been gone for a few months now, and the support is as strong as it's ever been. I still get messages saying how proud people are of me and how much they support me. And I can't even fathom the amount of gratitude I have for that, and how much I can't wait to show you guys that all of your faith in me is not misplaced. I am a man of my word. First and foremost, and I promise you I'm going to go in there and I'm going to finish this person, and we're all going to go out and get drunk and have a wonderful time together. First, I got a job to do. So thank you all, from New England, MMA fighters, to the media like yourself, to my fans, to Crew Delagrati, to everybody at CT. I have so many people I'm grateful for, that I can't wait to produce in front of, to show you guys that I am taking this seriously, and that I have done everything in my power to become successful here. So remember this: I am a man of my word, and every single time that I've said I'm going to do something, I fucking go ahead and do it. So mark that right here and right now, that I promise you that this is going to be a dominant performance by me, and I'm going to move on. I'm going to look at the rest of you in the crowd that had crickets for me. I'm going to shake my head at you, because to me, you're a coward, because you didn't answer the call, and you could have.
Well, my man, I'm looking forward to that post-fight interview, if your hand is raised on July 10th, man. It's going to be a ball, man. And I miss you, my man. I know you're a little ways away, but we'll be seeing you again in 2.5 weeks or so, bro. We'll be hanging out afterwards no matter what, man. There's a lot of great fights on there, and you are definitely one of the top ones, my friend. So, the Joker, Jay Perrin, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. Cage Titans 49, July 10th, man. Check him out. He's coming.
2.5 weeks, baby. I'm coming home.
All right, my man. You have a good night, man, and we'll see you soon.
You too, brother.